What if the one person you trusted most in the world looked your dying child in the eye and said, "My car isn't for kids"? Picture this. You're Sarah, 34 years old, a single mom just trying to hold it together after your divorce. Your 6-year-old son Ethan is everything to you, bright-eyed, full of questions, the kind of kid who still believes the world is mostly good. It's a rainy Tuesday night in the suburbs. Ethan's asthma has been acting up for days, but tonight it's different. He's wheezing so hard he can barely speak. His little chest is caving in with every desperate breath. You grab your phone, heart hammering, and call your older brother Jason. He's 38, the responsible one in the family. The guy who always has the nicer house, the newer car, the perfect excuses. He picks up on the second ring. "Jason, it's Ethan. He can't breathe. I need you to drive us to the ER right now. My car's in the shop and the ambulance will take forever in this rain." There's a pause. Then his voice, cold and clipped. "Sarah, my car isn't for kids. It's leather. He'll mess it up." You think you misheard him. You must have. This is your brother. The same guy who used to sneak you snacks when mom grounded you. But he doubles down. "I just got it detailed. Take a cab or something." Click. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. You're standing in your hallway, phone still pressed to your ear, staring at your son who's turning blue around the lips. The shock hits you like ice water. How could he? You scoop Ethan up, his body so light, so fragile, and run out into the pouring rain. Neighbors are yelling, asking if you need help. You don't even answer. You're already soaked, already dialing 911 while trying to keep Ethan calm. "Mommy's got you, baby. Just breathe with me." The ambulance finally screams up. Paramedics take one look at Ethan and move fast. Oxygen mask, nebulizer, sirens. The whole ride to the hospital you're replaying Jason's words on loop. "My car isn't for kids." Over and over. Each time it cuts deeper. At the ER, they stabilize Ethan. The doctor pulls you aside later, eyes serious. "Another 10 minutes, and we might have lost him. You did good getting him here." But you didn't. Not really. You barely made it. And the person who could have made it easy, your own brother, chose leather seats over your son's life. That night, while Ethan sleeps in the hospital bed, tiny chest rising and falling under the monitors, you sit in the plastic chair and text your mother, Eleanor. She's 62, always defending Jason, like he's still her golden boy. Her reply comes quick. "You're overreacting, Sarah. Jason's busy. You know how he is." Busy. The betrayal burns, so hot you can taste it. But here's what you don't know yet. Someone else was watching that night. Someone who saw everything. Someone who's about to step out of the shadows and turn your entire world upside down. Because Robert, the quiet neighbor you barely spoke to, had been walking his dog in the rain. He saw you running. He heard the 911 call. And he's not who you think he is. You ever sit in a hospital at 3 a.m., watching your child's chest rise and fall, and feel something inside you snap like a dry bone? That's exactly where Sarah was the next morning. Ethan was stable now, breathing easier under the oxygen mask, but the rage in her chest hadn't faded. It had grown teeth. She hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard Jason's voice again. "My car isn't for kids." She stepped into the hallway, phone in hand, and called her mother first. Eleanor answered on the first ring, voice syrupy, with that familiar defense. "Sarah, honey, you're blowing this out of proportion. Jason had a big meeting the next day. That car is his baby." "His baby?" Sarah cut her off, voice low and shaking. "Ethan almost died, Mom." "Died? And your precious son wouldn't even get his leather seats wet." Eleanor sighed like this was just another sibling spat. "You know Jason has always been particular. He'll probably apologize when he calms down. Bring Ethan some toys or something." Sarah hung up without another word. The betrayal felt even heavier now. This wasn't new. Jason had always been the favorite. The one who got the better Christmas presents, the college fund, the family excuses. Sarah had learned to live with it, until it nearly killed her son. She was still standing there, staring at the blank phone screen, when Robert appeared. He was the neighbor from 2 houses down. Quiet guy, maybe 40, always in dark clothes, walking that big German shepherd at odd hours. Sarah had only ever waved at him in passing. Now he stood there holding 2 coffees and a small bag of pastries, looking almost nervous. "I saw what happened last night," he said softly. "The rain. You running with Ethan. I wanted to help, but by the time I got my keys, you were already in the ambulance." Sarah blinked, too exhausted for small talk. "Thank you. That's kind." Robert handed her a coffee. His eyes were steady, almost too steady. "Your brother. Jason, right?" "I know him." Something in the way he said it made the hairs on her arms stand up. "You know Jason?" Robert nodded slowly. "We've crossed paths. Business circles."
"He's not who you think he is, Sarah."
"That car? It's the least of his secrets." Before she could ask what the hell that meant, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "I saw everything too. Your brother didn't just refuse to help. He was hiding something in that car. Something he didn't want anyone to see. Especially not with a sick kid in the back seat." Sarah's stomach dropped. She looked up at Robert, who was watching her reaction carefully. "Who are you?" she whispered. He gave a small, sad smile. "Someone who's been waiting for the right moment to tell you the truth. But you need to be careful. Jason's already spinning this story to the rest of the family, making you sound hysterical, unstable. And if he finds out what I know..." Robert's voice trailed off as footsteps echoed down the hall. Jason was walking toward them, flowers in hand, wearing that perfect concerned brother mask. But his eyes locked on Robert for half a second too long. Pure panic flashed across his face before he buried it. Sarah's heart hammered. What the hell was really going on? Have you ever looked at someone you've known your whole life and suddenly realized you never knew them at all? Sarah's pulse thundered in her ears as Jason strode down the sterile hospital hallway, that fake concern plastered across his face like cheap paint. Flowers in one hand, phone in the other, already typing something. He looked every bit the worried uncle until his eyes flicked to Robert. That split-second flash of pure panic told Sarah everything. Something was very wrong. "Sarah," Jason said, voice dripping with sympathy as he reached her. "How's my little guy? I came as soon as I could. Traffic was murder." She didn't take the flowers. She just stared at him, the man who chose leather over oxygen. "You came as soon as you could? Ethan almost died last night, Jason. Because of you." He sighed theatrically, glancing at the nurses nearby. "Look, I feel terrible. I was stressed, okay? Big client presentation this morning. I wasn't thinking straight. Let me make it up to both of you." He tried to step toward Ethan's room, but Sarah blocked him. Robert hadn't moved. He stood like a shadow, coffee still in hand, watching Jason with calm, unblinking eyes. Jason noticed. "Do I know you?" he asked Robert, tone shifting. "You do," Robert replied quietly. "Board meeting last March. You remember? The one where certain offshore accounts came up." Jason's face drained of color. The flowers trembled slightly in his grip. For the first time in her life, Sarah saw real fear in her brother's eyes. "What the hell is going on?" Sarah demanded, looking between them. "Robert, you said he was hiding something in the car.
"Tell me."
"Now." Robert hesitated, then spoke low enough that only she could hear. "Your brother isn't just particular about his car, Sarah. He's running. Moving money that doesn't belong to him. Cash, documents, maybe worse, stuff that can't be explained if a sick kid starts coughing all over the back seat. Last night wasn't about leather. It was about not risking everything he's built on lies." Jason stepped closer, voice a harsh whisper. "You don't know what you're talking about. This is family business. Stay out of it." But Robert didn't flinch. "Family? You mean the way you've been siphoning from your own mother's retirement account for 2 years? Or the way you've been telling everyone Sarah's unstable since the divorce, so no one believes her?" Sarah felt the floor tilt. 2 years? Her mother's money? Before she could process it, Jason's mask shattered. He grabbed her arm, not hard enough to bruise, but hard enough to scare. "Listen to me. This guy is lying. He's obsessed with me, some business rival trying to destroy my life. Ethan needs his family right now, not strangers spreading conspiracy theories." Ethan's monitor beeped louder from inside the room, as if agreeing. Sarah yanked her arm free, heart tearing in two directions. Part of her still wanted to believe her brother couldn't be this monstrous. The other part, the mother part, was already connecting every cold excuse, every sudden business trip, every time money went missing. Then Robert dropped the final bomb, voice calm but deadly. "Check his trunk, Sarah. Tonight. Before he moves it. You'll see I'm telling the truth." Jason laughed, but it sounded broken. "She won't find anything, because there's nothing there." But his eyes said otherwise. As Jason turned to leave, pretending to answer an urgent call, Sarah caught Robert's sleeve. "Why are you helping me?" Robert's expression darkened. "Because your brother ruined my sister the same way. And I've been waiting 3 years for this moment. Would you break into your own brother's car at midnight if you knew one look inside could destroy everything you thought you knew about your family?" Sarah couldn't stop shaking. The hospital lights buzzed overhead like angry bees while Ethan slept, monitors steady for the first time in hours. She had kissed his forehead, whispered she'd be back soon, and slipped out like a thief. Robert waited in the parking lot, engine running, his German shepherd silent in the back seat. No words at first. Just the rain starting again, tapping on the windshield like impatient fingers. "You don't have to do this," Robert said quietly as they pulled away from the hospital. "I can show you proof another way." Sarah stared straight ahead, jaw tight. "He almost killed my son over whatever's in that trunk. I need to see it myself." They parked 2 blocks from Jason's sleek suburban house. Lights off, garage closed, his shiny black SUV sitting in the driveway like it owned the night. Robert killed the engine. "He's at a late dinner with clients. We have maybe 20 minutes. He keeps a spare key in a magnetic box under the rear wheel well. Old habit from college." Sarah's stomach twisted. This was her brother. The guy who once carried her piggyback when she sprained her ankle. Now she was sneaking through wet grass in borrowed sneakers, heart slamming so hard she tasted metal. Robert moved like a shadow, found the key, and handed it over without a word. His eyes said, "Last chance to turn back." She clicked the trunk open. The dome light spilled out and Sarah's breath caught. No golf clubs. No gym bag. Just stacks of cash, neat bricks wrapped in plastic. Manila envelopes stamped with bank logos she didn't recognize. And at the bottom, a small black lockbox. Her fingers trembled as she lifted the lid. Inside, printed screenshots of wire transfers. Her mother's retirement account drained in tiny increments over 2 years. Forged signatures. And photos, printed photos, of a woman who looked a lot like Robert.
Beaten. Bruised.
Dated 3 years ago with a handwritten note in Jason's handwriting. She talked. "Fix it." Sarah's knees buckled. She grabbed the edge of the trunk to stay upright. "Oh God. Robert, your sister?" He nodded once, voice cracking for the first time. "Lila worked for his company, found out about the embezzlement, threatened to go to the feds. He made sure she couldn't." Before Sarah could answer, her phone vibrated in her pocket. A text from Jason. "Where are you? Mom said you left the hospital.
We need to talk about Ethan."
"I'm coming over right now." Headlights swept the street 2 blocks away. Jason's car. Robert slammed the trunk shut. "He's early. Sarah, we have to go, now." But Sarah stood frozen, the photos still clutched in her hand, the truth burning hotter than the betrayal ever had. Would you keep running with proof that could bury your own brother, even if it meant your son might wake up alone in that hospital bed? Sarah's legs burned as she and Robert sprinted across the wet grass, the photos and a thick envelope of wire transfers clutched against her chest like a bomb. Jason's headlights sliced through the darkness behind them, tires crunching gravel as his SUV swung into the driveway. Too close. Way too close. "Keys," Robert hissed, yanking open the passenger door of his own car. The German shepherd in the back whined once, sensing the panic. Sarah dove in, slamming the door just as Jason's high beams flooded the street. Robert floored it. The engine roared, and they shot forward, tires fishtailing on the rain-slick road. In the rearview mirror, Sarah watched Jason's silhouette freeze beside his open trunk. He knew. He had to know someone had been inside. Her phone exploded with texts, his name flashing over and over. Where are you? This is insane, Sarah. Come back, or I swear I'll tell everyone you're having another breakdown. She silenced it, hands shaking so hard the photos crumpled at the edges. Robert's voice cut through the roar of the engine. Lila was his executive assistant. Smart.
Loyal.
She found the accounts first, millions funneled to shell companies in the Caymans. When she confronted him, he smiled, told her it was just business. 2 nights later, she was jumped in her own parking garage. Skull fractured. She's been in a care facility ever since. Can't speak, can't walk. Doctors called it a random mugging. I knew better the second I saw those pictures in his trunk. Sarah's stomach lurched. And Mom's money? Seed capital for his little empire. He's been draining her for years while playing the perfect son. If the feds see what we have, it's over for him.
Prison.
Forfeiture. Everything. They skidded into the hospital parking lot 10 minutes later. Sarah was already half out the door before the car stopped. I have to see Ethan. Then we call the police.
Right now.
Robert grabbed her wrist gently.
Wait.
Jason's probably already spinning this. He'll say you broke in, stole his property, that I'm some crazy stalker. We need to copy everything first. Safe place, no traces back to us. But Sarah was already running toward the sliding doors, envelope hidden under her jacket. The lobby lights hit her like a spotlight. A security guard glanced her way. And there, at the nurse's station, stood Jason, calm and collected, talking to the head nurse with that same concerned uncle face.
He turned.
Their eyes locked across the waiting room. Jason smiled, slow and sharp, like a wolf that had just cornered its prey. Then he raised his phone, showing her the screen, a live photo of Ethan's hospital room door, taken from inside. He had gotten there first. Have you ever stood in a hospital hallway with your whole world hanging by a thread, evidence burning a hole in your jacket, and realized the monster you grew up with was finally out of time? Sarah didn't hesitate. She marched straight across the waiting room, Robert right behind her, the envelope and photos clutched like a loaded gun. Jason's smug smile faltered when he saw their faces. He lowered the phone, that fake concern cracking wide open. Sarah, what the hell? She didn't let him finish. She slapped the photos down on the nurse's station counter, Lila's bruised face staring up at everyone. The wire transfers. The screenshots of Mom's drained retirement account. You didn't refuse because of leather seats, Jason. You refused because your trunk was full of stolen money and proof you nearly killed a woman to keep your secrets. My son almost died because you were moving evidence. The nurse's eyes widened. 2 security guards stopped mid-step. Jason's mouth opened, closed, then opened again. She's lying. She broke into my car. This is all fabricated. Robert stepped forward, voice steady as steel. Lila was my sister. You beat her unconscious in that parking garage 3 years ago because she found the embezzlement. I've been gathering proof ever since. The feds already have copies of everything we took tonight. Jason lunged for the papers. Sarah shoved him back harder than she knew she could. Don't you touch my son, ever again. Within minutes, the hospital was swarming with police. Jason tried to spin it, called his lawyer, claimed it was all a family misunderstanding, but the evidence was ironclad. The cash in the trunk, the forged signatures, security footage from Lila's old office showing him following her the night she was attacked. He was arrested right there in the hallway, handcuffs clicking shut while he screamed that Sarah was unstable, that Robert was obsessed, that none of it was real. It was all real. The next 48 hours were a blur of statements and tears. Eleanor showed up at the station, face ashen, and learned her golden boy had been robbing her blind for years. She didn't defend him this time. She hugged Sarah so tight it hurt and whispered, "I'm so sorry I didn't see it." Jason's company froze his assets. The DA charged him with embezzlement, wire fraud, aggravated assault on Lila, and reckless endangerment of Ethan. He'd be gone for at least 15 years. Lila, still in her care facility, received the news through her brother. The doctors said the new evidence might help her case for better treatment. Robert cried for the first time in front of Sarah when he told her. Ethan woke up the next morning asking for pancakes. Sarah took him home that afternoon. Her home, paid for without any of Jason's dirty money. No more looking over her shoulder. No more family excuses. Just her and her boy, stronger than they'd ever been. She stood on the front porch that evening, Ethan's hand in hers, watching the sunset paint the sky gold. For the first time in years, she breathed without that knot of betrayal in her chest. The monster was finally locked away.
And Sarah?
She was finally completely free.